Good afternoon, everyone. I want to introduce to you a friend of mine, Dan Drvaric, who's the sales director at Altec. Dan has spent 38 years selling and implementing ERP systems. Dan and I did some sales and implementation work together back when he was at a different ERP. He's got a very broad and wide experience both in manufacturing and also in distribution systems. Brings a lot to the table for these dialogues about business processes with Altec. Couple things. We're going to have a poll inside these sessions here. So please note up by your chat, there's a button for polls. That's where you'll be able to participate in the polls. And I will be monitoring the chat, and so please feel free to note questions, and I will ask Dan either in context or I will ask Dan at the end of his presentation. Enough from me. Dan, it's all yours.
Mike, thank you for that introduction, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I want to talk just for a few minutes about how we can automate your complex processes, not only in the accounts payable department, but in literally every department of your company, and automate those processes using Docklink. What are we going to talk about today? Very briefly, I'm going to give you a high-level overview of Docklink, and after that, we'll talk just a little bit about how Docklink can go beyond the capabilities of the AP automation solution within Acumatica, while at the same time still integrating with your Acumatica accounts payable. So there's certainly no loss of functionality there, but I believe we can extend the functionality greatly. We'll also talk briefly about using Docklink on the sales order and accounts receivable side of the business. And last but not least, we want to talk about contract management. It's a very popular topic these days, and I'm often having conversations with Accumatica customers about contract management. So here's our first poll. So Mike, if you will open the poll and monitor it, I would appreciate it. We'd like to know your biggest challenges. Are they in manual data entry and access to your documents? Is it delays in processing invoices, getting the approvals and getting the invoices back so that you can have them entered in Acumatica and ready for month end? Is it simply finding documents quickly? On the sales order side, are documents stored in different filing systems, different network drives, those sorts of things? And do you have easy access to contracts? And can you find the information that's in those contracts that you need when you need it? So I'll wait just a moment. And Mike, you'll let me know when.
Yeah, just to give it one more sec. For
continue here.
I think I have everybody's votes. Do you want some answers?
I'll take some answers.
About 40% manual data entry.
Okay.
About 15% finding documents quickly.
All right.
Easy access to contracts gets about 10%.
Okay.
And all of the above gets about 40%. By the way, that I did round up on each one, so it's up to just about 110%.
All right, great. All right, well, happy to hear those results. Thank you, Mike. Just to talk about Docklink and give you an overview here very quickly, 30,000-foot view. In the middle of the screen, you see the Doclink Repository. This is where all of the images of your documents will come in, and this is where we will keep the data that we extract from your documents, whether it's information from purchase orders, from receiving documentation, from your invoices, contracts, whatever it might be. All of the images and data will be stored in the repository. Now, how do we get the information into the repository in the first place? There are many ways that we can accomplish that. We can, through the integration with Acumatica, we can capture your purchase orders and that data and bring it in completely hands-free. We have the ability, when the invoice arrives, we can use our AI-driven OCR module to automatically bring your invoices in, read the data, and when we have a 100% accurate read, we could even enter those invoices into an approval process automatically. We have other ways that we can bring it in. We can bring it in through smart forms. We have a mobile app as well. So lots of different ways to bring documents and the data from them into the Docklink repository. Once it's there, we can process those documents. We can put them into an automated workflow or a manual workflow if necessary. And when we talk about accounts payable invoices for a moment, when the invoice has reached its final approval status, we can take that data for that invoice and automatically transfer it to Acumatica. So if we go back to the start and we use our AI-driven OCR module to read your invoice data, bring it into the repository, put it into an automated workflow, we can then push it directly into Acumatica in a completely hands-free solution. The only thing that you would have left to do in Acumatica is release that invoice and then wait to pay it. But when you're in Acumatica, if you're looking at a transaction where the document has been stored in Docklink, you can use the View Documents button that we provide on the Acumatica screens so that you can, with the click of one button, retrieve the document and bring it up side by side right next to your Acumatica transaction screen. So you don't have to necessarily leave Acumatica. You don't have to log into another program. It's all automated and very easy for you. And last but not least, we can deliver documents. We can deliver documents internally via emails, so that that helps streamline the AP invoice approval process or any approval process for any document. And we can also deliver documents outside of the company. So if you're working with a customer and you're sending them your accounts receivable invoice, but they require a proof of delivery or other documentation to go along with the invoice, we can automate the delivery of all of that documentation for you. So that's just a high-level overview. And from here, just want to talk for a moment further about the integration with Acumatica. Docklink does integrate with Acumatica in a number of different places. As I've already mentioned, integration in the purchase order screen, bills and adjustments. There are many other places where Docklink and Acumatica integrate. But the beauty of Docklink is because it is not inside of your Acumatica database. We're not taking up any of the space that you've reserved for Acumatica. We're working alongside of it. And Docklink can then be used for other areas of the company. I like to talk about the quality control department. Your quality control department may not need to be logged into Acumatica. They may have no need, no reason to be within your ERP system. However, they do need to be able to store their information, capture the data that's on the documentation that they're storing, and then be able to easily retrieve it when they need it. And so Docklink, by working in parallel to Acumatica, can address the needs of every department in your company without necessarily having to acquire more Acumatica user licenses or even provide login credentials to employees who really have no business being in the ERP system. But for those who are in the ERP system, Docklink and the integration between the two programs is really very powerful. So why would you want to use Docklink with Acumatica? I've already mentioned the integration. We do have the very powerful advanced workflows that are really very easy to configure. It's something that you as an end user can do. We will educate you on how to do it so that you can set up workflows not only for accounts payable, if that's where you're starting your project, but you'll know how to do it for any document that you want to add at any time in the future. I mentioned our AI-driven OCR module that can fully automate the two-way or three-way matching that you're probably currently doing in a very manual fashion. So we can reduce a lot of time and streamline that operation for you. We can also create smart forms. We have the smart form toolkit that allows us to bring into Docklink and automate things like expense reports, time off requests, credit card reconciliations, really any form that you currently have in Excel or Word or fillable PDF, we can set up in Docklink and then automate the approval process from there. And last but not least, Docklink offers 3 different types of licenses with a great deal of flexibility in how you install and implement Docklink. We have the traditional perpetual license and a subscription license that would allow you to install Docklink in-house in a privately hosted cloud, wherever you would like. We also have the Docklink Cloud solution. It is a complete SaaS solution that we can, again, connect to your Acumatica environment wherever you have Acumatica installed as well. Now, to talk about accounts payable for just a few moments, I did talk about the invoice onboarding and the use of our AI-driven OCR module. But part of the process that occurs is data validation. We're going to validate that the invoice that you've received is from a vendor who you have in your Acumatica database. We're going to validate line items. If we're looking at line item detail, we're going to validate the item numbers, quantities, unit costs, extended costs, those sorts of things. We're also going to check for duplicate invoices so that we can address them even before they reach your Acumatica bills and adjustments screen. The workflow module is going to be driven by your business rules. So whether you are routing documents for approvals based on dollar volumes, based on who the vendor is, based on the GL accounts that will be impacted, the workflow and the business rules that you set up will allow you to automatically route your documents through your company and gain the necessary approvals that you need before we transfer that data into Acumatica. And I've already talked about the three-way matching. If there are exceptions, we have a great deal of flexibility in how those are handled. Many companies like to send the invoice and the purchase order right back to the buyer, and that's something that we can do automatically when there is an exception. So again, a great deal of power, great deal of flexibility to handle all of your complex accounts payable workflows and situations. Talk about a current Acumatica customer and Docklink customer. We have one who several years ago was using Sage 100 installed within the 4 walls of their company. And when they decided that it was time for them to look for a new ERP system, one of the requirements was that it be an ERP system that integrates with Docklink. And so in the end, they migrated from Sage 100 to Acumatica and are still using Docklink and still have all of the documents that they captured while they were a Sage 100 user. They still have access to all of those documents in Docklink, even though today they're now connected to Acumatica. So it provides them with a single repository, all of the workflows, the same interface, even though they've changed obviously changed the interface of their ERP system. The Docklink interface hasn't changed, and they still have the seamless integration between accounts payable and accounts receivable that they enjoyed on their previous ERP system. Another example of a current Docklink and Acumatica customer is a restaurant accounting service. And one of the things that they take advantage of is the ability for their clients, the small restaurants who don't have an internal accounting staff and need to take advantage of their accounting services, their restaurants are able to log into Docklink and upload the invoices that they receive, so that this Docklink and Acumatica customer can process them and complete the accounting that these small restaurants need. They're doing the automated three-way matching, and again, they have advanced workflows within and outside of the company. So, Mike, before I move on, do we have any AP questions that have come up?
No, we don't, Dan. This is good.
Okay.
This is good. Just keep going.
All right, thank you. When we talk about sales order, again, we can take care of the entire process. Here we start with a quote, but this process might actually start with a request for quote that we could capture and bring into Docklink. Take it all the way through. After the quote and before the customer issues a purchase order, there might be contracts that need to be negotiated and signed. And again, all of these different documents, including things like the proof of delivery that I mentioned earlier, all of these documents and many more can be managed in Docklink and are readily available to be retrieved by anyone who needs to see them, and they can be shared again within the company and outside of the company if necessary. So if we talk about some of the business processes and the automation that we're accomplishing with Docklink, really on both the accounts payable and the accounts receivable side, we're able to capture documents in a variety of ways, and we can actually completely eliminate the paper that you have around your offices. And we can dramatically reduce, and in many cases, eliminate the manual data entry that you're currently performing. I've already mentioned we're able to deliver the documents so that they're delivered to the approvers. They're routed on time. You have complete visibility of them, so that if it is near month end and you're waiting for approvals on a number of invoices, you can see where those invoices are stalled so that you can contact the approver and get them to move that document, move that invoice along so that you have it for month-end closing. I've had a conversation with a prospect who estimates they'll be able to close their books as much as 5 days sooner than they currently do, so that they can deliver financial statements to the owners because of the visibility that Docklink provides. I mentioned our Smart Form toolkit that allows us to extend Docklink's capabilities to allow you to create any form that you're currently using and then put that into a workflow. And search and retrieval. Docklink uses the data that we extract from the invoices, from your documents, as the basis for our powerful search and retrieval capabilities. And we have a number of prospects right now who are considering Docklink not only as a document management, workflow automation, and information sharing platform, but they're also using it to allow them to analyze the data for vendor performance analysis and many other things that really are a byproduct of using Docklink to capture the data and streamline your processes.
Dan, I'm going to interrupt you here if you don't mind. We've got 2 minutes left, and I want to make sure that we hit the second poll.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. So the benefits of Docklink, I've talked about them as we go through. Here's our legal and contract management. Again, very powerful capabilities here. We have the ability to check documents out and then check them back in. We have complete version control. We also have full text search capabilities. So you can enter a term, you can choose the document types that you want, and then you can see the results right there and click on the document that you need to review. We also integrate with DocuSign. And now, Mike, I'm one slide away, I think. Again, I want to emphasize that Docklink can be used by every department in the company. And so here's our next poll. How soon would you like to start a project evaluating Docklink? Are you ready to start now, in the next few months, maybe after the first of the year? Or this is new to you and you still need a little more time?
We are at the quarter hour.
Okay.
I am Dan and I are both happy to stick around and answer any questions that anybody has. As usual, you are a great looking audience and a fun audience to be around. Thank you for your attendance. And as I said, Dan and I are going to stick around. You're welcome to either put something in the chat or turn off your or turn on your microphone and talk to us there.
And I just want to ask all of you, if you have any further questions, please come visit us in the Docklink booth in the exhibit hall, and we'll be happy to talk with you about how you can extend your Acumatica capabilities with the use of Docklink. So thank you for joining me this afternoon. And yes, Mike, I'll be happy to stay and answer any questions that come up.
Most of the comments are great session, which is an accurate statement. I liked this, Dan. This is very good.
Oh, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. As you know, when you can't see the audience, it's hard to know.
It is.
So I appreciate everybody's feedback.
Lisa says you packed a lot into 20 minutes. That's a fair statement. Chip, you are welcome. And Rose is reminding us that you can hop over to the booth in the exhibit hall. Either Dan or Rose will be there to answer any follow-up questions.
I'll head there, Mike, right as soon as you throw me out of the room.
Okay. I've got a couple minutes till I need to go, so I just want to. Sometimes people are shy and they don't want to ask a question until other people are out. So I liked the two stories that you told. That's really meaningful. Being able to close the books more timely is, the accountant in me really that really strikes me. But also the volume of transactions for that second example. That's a heavy volume to be handling manually.
Yeah.
And that's the one of the real benefits of this platform.
It's not uncommon for us to talk to companies that are processing 24,000, 48,000, 60,000, and even higher volumes of invoices. It might be one company, it might be several companies. They might have one AP processor, they might have three or more. And Docklink can really help automate, streamline things, and free up a great deal of time so that people who are today doing heads down data entry are now free to do things that are probably more interesting to them, probably more productive for the company, and hopefully more profitable for the company as well.
It's interesting when you actually have time that you can do things. It changes it changes the culture in so many ways that
Exactly.
if you're not just pounding on the keyboard the whole time.
Right. Well, as I mentioned, you can use it for vendor performance analysis.
The whole contract thing is new to me. I've not seen that before. I wish you had more time to drill into that.
Yeah, I didn't keep a close enough eye on my clock.
No,
Mike, I'm sorry.
I didn't either. I got distracted. I was looking at your slides rather than I need a better stopwatch. That's for sure. Looks like everybody is filtering out. So I'll let you hop over to the booth. Hey, my friend, good to see you.
Good to see you, Mike, and let's get together soon.
Absolutely. Cheers.
All right. Bye.